Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Yashoda Prabhu?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
Just 1 second. I'll see if I can fix my internet here. There, I think that's better. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all glories to the assembled devotees of the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. And we're very happy to be able to associate with all of you globally on a regular basis every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday to hear about the message of Krishna consciousness from the bona fide spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And these days, I'm realizing that, especially on my trip here to Yautepec, Mexico, that people here and everywhere have a tendency to sing. People like to sing. And not only do they like to sing, they also like to dance. So singing and dancing are natural sort of pleasures for the human being. Yesterday here in Yautepec, there was some kind of concert in the area. And I noticed in the air here where we're staying at the Casa Goloka, the sound vibration permeating. People are singing. I don't know what they were singing, but they seemed to be happy. At any rate, they were singing away in the distance, and it was carrying through the sky. And there's also a very famous person these days in the pop music field, Taylor Swift. She was traveling around the world, and she was in Australia recently, in Melbourne. And it was interesting to note that she had 96,000 people at her event. 96,000 for 4 days straight. Can you imagine? 4 days straight. And all of the people there knew all the words to her songs. They were singing along, whatever the crazy lyrics are. It's all about relationships, mundane pastimes, frivolous, meaningless words, but people are singing. So Prabhupada, when he came from India, he introduced the process of chanting Hare Krishna as a means of engaging people in this natural proclivity to sing. And then he also taught the Swami step, back and forth. Hare Krishna, like that. And people, as we see when you look at the history of ISKCON, that back there when Prabhupada started in Tompkins Square Park, the chanting, people picked up on it and they started to chant along. So this was the way that Krishna consciousness started to spread. It was through the kirtan. So kirtan is a very valuable part of our process. And when it's even nowadays in the ISKCON movement, because a lot of us do see it on social media, the people have a proclivity, an inclination to chant. Actually, they're trying, they're very much like chanting to become celebrity kirtan leaders. Oh, I'm a celebrity now. I couldn't make it in pop music, but I can make it in Krishna consciousness. I just learned how to play this little harmonium and sing away, and I'm, I've got a good voice, and everybody will love me, and I'll be happy. So the mantra has to be received properly. We'll study about this in our classes, from the lips of a pure devotee. And if it's properly chanted, and if the devotee, the disciple, understands the significance of the chanting from the spiritual master, then there's a very potent result that takes place. So simply chanting, repeating mantras, or concocting mantras like that, or getting the mantra from an unauthorized source, this will not have much effect. That's the difference between us and them. That is the difference. We are different. We have one understanding, that Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master, that the mantra comes from him. His instructions are for us to follow, all of us, whether we're old disciples or new disciples. Everyone here has the same duty. For example, and I've been talking to my godbrother Yashodanandana Prabhu extensively on this matter. You take a person that got initiated in 1969 or 68 or 67 or 66. Prabhupada started his initiations. And after a few years, they disappear. They have no interest. Oh, well, I'm from the first wave. I met one devotee, Malati. She's still in the movement of the ISKCON group. I met her in New Vrindavan some years ago. I gave a speech. She introduced herself. Oh, I'm Malati. I'm part of the first wave. Oh, good. First wave. So what does it mean? First wave, second wave, third? It means nothing. All that it means is that you got a blessing from Lord Chaitanya and from Prabhupada to take up this process of devotional service. That's all it means. So old devotee, new devotee, everyone is equal, depending on their commitment to the process of chanting the holy name, of following the principles, and for preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya to other people in foreign land, anywhere you go. So it's quite interesting. I'm here in Mexico on this sabbatical, let's say, or retreat in a sense. There's only two of us here, the guy that owns the estate and myself. But it is very interesting to see how many people in this area have taken up Krishna consciousness. It seems to be a very pious country, Yashodanandana Prabhu. Very, very pious. And people are inclined to spiritual life. So if we can give them good instruction, whether it's here or in Canada or the USA, our duty is to try in our best wherever we are to give this opportunity to people to become Krishna conscious through the process of devotional service as given by our spiritual master. This is practical. This movement is practical. It is not academic. So a lot of people get involved in Krishna consciousness due to academia. No, it is devotional and it's very simple. Simple for the simple, Vijaya Pandit. Very difficult for the crooked, like this fellow in Italy that's the so-called president that said to you, don't send me any more messages. Complete garbage. And now we'll move forward with the reading of the diaries of Srila Prabhupada from 1966. We're in April. And Vinka could put those up. Yeah, thank you very much. We're at April 12th. Remember, you can listen to the lectures online as well. You really put yourself in the mood, okay? Just get in the mood. Sunrise, 5:21 a.m., sunset, 6:41 p.m., moonrise, 1:05 a.m. Astami, today I had been to New Delhi House. Mr. Mukherjee of Passport Department kept my undertaking and passport or necessary action, and will return on Monday the 18th. Paul paid for the battery, $1. Wow. Bus fare was 30 cents, and the total expenditure was $1.30. Not too much money. April 13th, but Prabhupada's keeping track. Notice that, keeping track. Not of millions, of pennies. Wednesday, the 13th of April, sunrise, 5:20 a.m., sunset, 6:42 p.m., moonrise, 2:38. Navami, today I received one letter from the chief assistant of the government of New York. The governor of New York, Paul TR, is all right. Expenditure paid to Paul, $1.50. Bus fare was 75 cents. So Prabhupada was moving around quite a bit that day. I think the fare was 15 cents. And expenditure was $2.25. In the evening, 8 ladies and gentlemen attended the meeting, and the income was $1. So look that up, that class. Enjoy that class this week if you have a chance. April 13th, 1966. Tune in. Thursday, April 14th, 1966. On Thursday, no, Prabhupada's just here. Look, he's just recording money. Remember, he's in transition. Sunrise, 5:18 a.m., sunset, 6:44 p.m., moonrise, 3:12 a.m. They saw me. Elsie paid $31.50 for books. Oh, so some deposited with bank, $36. Paul paid for expenses, $1. And bus and subway fare was 60 cents. And expenditure was $37.60. Okay, so he deposited. Yes, income was $31.50 net. Friday, the 15th of April, sunrise 5:16 a.m., sunset 6:45 p.m., moonrise 3:39 a.m. Odyssey, books delivered to Elsie, 2 sets of books for sale in charge of Paul, expenditure bus fare 60 cents. Mr. Anderson, assistant to governor, met. He is a little sympathetic. He says that I may expect some news from the Asia Society of New York. Yolander will take me to the ashram tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's in Monroe. So he's going out of town to do kirtan with these Mayavadis. Collection in the meeting was $4. And April 16th. Do we have that in Kapata? Did I give that one? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Sunrise, 5:14 a.m., sunset, 5:46 p.m., 4:01 a.m. Paid to Paul for expenditure, $2. The bus fare to 72 was 15 cents. Dwadasi, $2.15 was the total. To Yolander took me to the ashram, and there was a kirtan in the evening at Dwadasi. Sunday, April 17th, 1966. Time is marching, everyone. Sunrise, 5:13 a.m., sunset, 6:47 p.m., moonrise, 4:21 a.m. Today, up to 5 p.m., I was in the ashram. Came back at 6:15 p.m. Paul was there. In the evening, I came back at Bowery with the suitcase. One book due to Elsie was delivered to her in the studio. Trio Dasi, expenditure bus fare 30 cents. New expenditure paid to Paul 50 cents, so it's 80 cents, and a book sale was $10. And I think we have Monday, April 18th, one more day. Is that there, brother? Yes, it is. Thank you. Sunrise 5:12 a.m. Sunset 6:49. Moonrise 4:39. Chatur Dasi. Today I took delivery of passport from the new India House. It is renewed up to a period of 2 years more, up to June 9th, 1968. I went to see Mr. Bogart, but he was not there. I left one note for him. Expenditures, I paid Paul $1. Bus fare was 30 cents, and postage was $1.10, so it's $2.40, and income was $2. So we'll stop there for the pastimes. So carry on with the reading tomorrow at our Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. And like I said, I want to welcome everyone that's new to our program, to these weekly sessions and these opportunities to associate with devotees. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari by Srila Prabhupada, our founder. And then we'll have our weekly Bhagavad-gītā As It Is class with His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu, who's in the mountains of Twine Heart. I hope he's not snowed in. Oh, glories to Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Muspa Paramangsa Paribrajagacharya Sthitare Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavindra ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू द और ग्लोरी टू द थैंक यू वेरी मच
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayet. Tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, the exalted transcendental literature spoken directly by Lord Krishna himself on a battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the introduction of the Bhagavad-gītā. These verses were given by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966 in New York. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami and his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisance to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, Tapta Kanchana Gourangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. As we do every week, we will read a verse either from the Gita Dhyanam or the Gita Mahatmya, explaining the glories of hearing the transcendental Bhagavad-gītā. First verse of the Gita Mahatmya. Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yapatet Prayata Puman Vishnu Padamavapnoti Vayashokadi Varjitaha. One who studies this Gita scripture with humility is freed from fear and misery and attains the feet of Lord Vishnu. Text number 2. Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Neva Shantihi Papani Purva Janme Kritani Cha. That person who is in the habit of reading the Gita and who is also devoted to practicing pranayama, breathing exercises, is not touched by sins, even those done in previous birth. Again, welcome everyone to this reading on Bhagavad-gītā. This reading and discussion is based upon the original 1972 Macmillan edition of the Bhagavad-gītā, the original non-edited, non-adulterated version. We will be reading today from chapter 10, text number 36, I believe. Text number 36. Dhyutam chalayatam asmi, Dhyutam chalayatam asmi, Tejas tejasvinamaham, Tejas tejasvinamaham, Jayosmi vyavasayosmi, Jayosmi vyavasayosmi, Sattvam sattvavatam maham, Sattvam sattvatamaham, Dhyutam gambling, chalayatam, of all cheats. Asmi, I am. Tejaha, splendid. Tejasvinam, of everything splendid. Aham, I am. Jayaha, victory. Asmi, I am. Vyavasayaha, adventure. Asmi, I am. Sattvam, strength. Sattvavatam, of all the strong. Aham, I am. Translation. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Purport. It's to be noted that all synonyms, translations, or purport are from His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the Supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among enterprising industrialists, he is the most enterprising. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous. And among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one can surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. And no one can surpass him in strength. Text number 37. Vrishninam vasudevosmi. Vrishninam vasudevosmi. Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Muninam apyaham Vyasaha. Muninam apyaham Vyasaha. Kavinam Mushanak Kavihi. Kavinam Mushanak Kavihi. Vrishninam, of the descendants of Vrishni. Vasudevaha, Krishna in Dwaraka. Asmi, I am. Pandavanam, of the Pandavas. Dhananjayaha, Arjuna. Muninam, of the sages. Api, also. Aham, I am. Vyasaha, Vyasa, the compiler of all Vedic literature. Kavinam, of all great thinkers. Ushana, Ushana. Kavihi, the thinker. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev. And of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa. And among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Purport. Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, and Vasudeva is the immediate expansion of Krishna. Both Lord Krishna and Baladeva appear as the sons of Vasudeva. Amongst the sons of Bandhu, Arjuna is famous and valiant. Indeed, he is the best of men and therefore represents Krishna. Among the Munis or learned men conversant in Vedic knowledge, Vyasa is the greatest because he explained Vedic knowledge in many different ways for the understanding of the common mass of people in this age of Kali. And Vyasa is also known as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, Vyasa also represents Krishna. Kavis are those who are capable of thinking thoroughly on any subject matter. Amongst the Kavis, Kṛṣṇa was the spiritual master of the demons. He was extremely intelligent, far-seeing, political and spiritual in every way. Thus, Kṛṣṇa is another representative of the opulence of Krishna. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshatah Adadhanastrinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amshu Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Karomisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we see in the Vedic literatures there are numerous recommendations how to obtain spiritual knowledge and how to get spiritually connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Lord Narayana. And this is done by receiving knowledge and mantras from a bona fide, authorized spiritual teacher, spiritual master or guru, acharya. Now this is very important. We see in the Mundaka Upanishad, there is a stricture, an injunction, that in order to receive spiritual knowledge, tad vijnanartam sagurumeva vigachet shamit panihi shrutriyam brahmanishtam, that one should receive that knowledge by approaching a bona fide acharya, to one who is fixed, brahmanishta, and in this way, one can receive transcendental knowledge and begin his study of the Vedas. Now, this is a basic fundamental point of spiritual understanding, of spiritual philosophy. It is not very complicated to understand. It has to be understood by the vimediya of the present authorized acharya, Srila Prabhupada, the current link in the Krishna consciousness movement. Now, this is very, very essential. Just like if one wants to study the Vedas, one has to hear from Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is an authorized incarnation of the personality of Godhead described in the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1, Chapter 3. In the Vishnu Sahasranam, called the Mahatmya, or the glorification of the power of reciting the 1,000 names of Vishnu, at the end it is described, Vyasam Vashishapnaptaram Shapte Potra Makalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukadatam taponitim. This means I salute the faultless Vyasa of great spiritual wealth, the great grandson of Maharishi Vasishta, grandson of Rishi Shakti, son of Rishi Parashara, and father of Rishi Shuka. Next text is Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave, Namo Ve Brahmanidaye, Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. I pray to Vyasa, who is Vishnu Rupa and Lord Vishnu, who is Vyasa Rupa, who is the descendant of Vasishta and who is the storehouse of Brahmanic knowledge. Now, why is this recitation there at the end of the Vishnu Sahasranam? To pay proper respects to the compiler of the Vedas. We see from the Vedas themselves, the Vedas are called Aparusheya. They were not spoken, they were not originally written by any mortal human being. In the beginning of creation of every kalpa, the entire message of the Vedas is revealed by Lord Kṛṣṇa to Lord Brahma, the chief engineer of the universe. And these revelations are not very complicated. It is the same Veda called Aparusheya. It is not spoken by any mundane man who is subject to the defects of the material world. Therefore, the Vedas are called Aparusheya. The other section of Vedic literature, such as the Puranas, Itihasas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Samhitas, all the Panchatra literatures, these are considered Parusheya. They were compiled by different rishis, different sages, different empowered saintly persons. And the personality who compiled all the Vedas at the end of the Dwapara Yuga and beginning of Kali Yuga is Srila Vyasadeva. Very, very important. Shukadev Goswami, the speaker of Bhagavatam, is the son of Vyasadeva, and he heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Srila Vyasa. So Vyasadeva is a very important person. In one conversation, Srila Prabhupada says, just estimate the power of this person who has written the Vedic literature, the Mahabharata, which has 100,000 verses. And he compiled all the Puranas. It is described by Jiva Goswami Prabhupada in his Tattva Sandarbha that in the higher planets, in Svargaloka, what the Vedic followers call the heavenly planets or Svargaloka planets, that the total number of verses of the Puranas are billions of verses. This is the difference in power of the living entities on this planet and the different living entities in Devanagari, Svargaloka. Everyone there is fluent in Sanskrit, endowed with all kinds of mystic powers, and they have a very large body of Vedic literatures. On this planet, what we have is the Vedic literatures, what is left at this point in Kali Yuga. We have the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the cream, the essence of all Vedic literatures. Why? Because it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, and it is considered Puranam Amalam. Srimad Bhagavatam is only concerned with description of the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no other alteration in this book. Although many other Puranas describe the worship of different demigods according to people's situation in the mode of nature, mode of Rajagun, the mode of Tamagun, there are different recommendations. But in this Srimad Bhagavatam, there is only full description of the pastimes and activities, the science, the Bhagavata Tattva. It is described in the Garuda Purana, Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayaha Gayatri Bhashya Rupaoso Vedartha Paribrimhitaha Granto Ashtadasha Sahasraha Srimad Bhagavata Vidaha. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the authorized explanation of Brahma Sutra, and it is a further explanation of Mahabharata. It is the expansion of the Gayatri Mantra and the essence of all Vedic knowledge. The Srimad Bhagavatam, containing 18,000 verses, is known as the explanation of all Vedic literatures. Now that is why the Srimad Bhagavatam is so important, and Srila Vyasadeva is so important. Another point I need to address here, Krishna says that he is amongst the cheaters, amongst all the cheaters, he is the supreme person who can expose all the cheaters. Anybody who knows the history of the Mahabharata knows the story of Shakuni. Shakuni and Duryodhana had arranged a game of dice, a game of gambling with the Pandavas in order to trick them, but there was some cheating going on. Shakuni was very expert in cheating at this dice game. Krishna says, Dhyutam chalayatam asmi. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, I am the strength of the strong. It's interesting, Prabhupada says, there are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided. It is all-sided. This morning, very early, I got up, started to recite some prayers, then recited some japa. After some time, I got a ping on my phone. I had a friend who sent me a note on Facebook about one ISKCON personality who had received a pada title. And I put a note, where is this pada title come from? Did Srila Prabhupada give this title to this person? Or was it self-bestowed? In other words, a person can delude himself very nicely to have achieved a certain spiritual attainment or a certain spiritual status. But usually in Vaishnava history, a title is bestowed a person by other senior Vaishnavas, by other Vaishnavas. This is very important. Just like Srila Prabhupada explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that his disciples called him Prabhupada. We called A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Why did we do that? This came up in 1968. Now, there are numerous versions of this story, but basically the one I heard from Brahmananda Gargamuni is that they asked Prabhupada the question, how should we address the spiritual master like yourself? Prabhupada gave him a few names. Prabhupada never demanded that he should be addressed as Prabhupada, but the disciples wanted to honor, to glorify Prabhupada. So that's how the name came about. Now in 1972, by that time, everybody in the society was worshiping Srila Prabhupada no longer just as Swami Bhaktivedanta, but as A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, on account of his achievements, on account of his preaching the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Srila Prabhupada occupied a very unique, special position in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He was the first person who had gone overseas in America and spread the mission. other persons that attempted it, no one succeeded it. Srila Prabhupada is the one who fulfilled the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. But some persons in other institutions were not happy. Various advisors and various other people were not happy. And they started to criticize His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, for using the name Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's reply to that was simple. I do not call myself Prabhupada. My disciples call me Srila Prabhupada. And this is the fact. Prabhupada mentions this in his purports of Chaitanya Charitamrita, also in the Upadeshamrita. So a person should not have an overinflated ego, thinking that he is a big pod, a special person, when such a title has never been given by Prabhupada himself. One has to use his intelligence with a certain degree of humility and modesty. Self-bestowed titles mean nothing, especially considering the history of what we've seen since 1978. No one should accept a title like that. That is the ultimate insult to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. It is a nonsense idea. 1 minute they're so-and-so Prabhupada, next minute God knows what they do. Because many times we see persons say, oh, you're a disciple of Prabhupada. Oh, Prabhu, accept my obeisances. Please tell me at Prabhupada. Well, that's nice. Okay. Many persons or disciples have accepted the official initiation. That's nice. What do they do? What did they do and what do they do now? What are they actually doing? What preaching are they actually doing? And if they're doing any preaching, what is that preaching? What is that philosophy? On this program, I will admit, on a couple of occasions, we've spoken fairly strongly about this idea of people inventing new mantras, new songs, manufacturing ideas which were not given or authorized by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Just like we know in India, there are many sadhus, many yogis, many gurus who are very expert in preaching all kinds of things. They know some Sanskrit. They will put some flowery or silk robes, grow a beard or whatever they do and preach. But what are they preaching? Are they preaching the proper standard? We see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we study in the beginning, how the great sages of Naimisharanya glorified Sutta Goswami as such a great exalted personality, a great saintly personality. And he described to the sages that I will describe you what I've heard. Yata dhitam yata matihi, that just like I have heard it, I will give it to you. One should not manufacture bogus ideas, bogus mantras, concocted bhajans, and nonsense kirtans. And this is going on in an increasing way. People think, oh, I'm a devotee, I can sing anything, I can do anything. No. There was just somebody yesterday sent me a YouTube lecture by Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is talking about its exact point, that we do kirtan, we do the chanting, not that we chant and glorify anything. No, we glorify according to the instruction of the acharyas. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. It is described in the Chandogya Upanishad that one who has heard the knowledge from the Acharya, he will know everything. But the reason this is going on because of lack of proper hearing, lack of submissive hearing. People think they know. People think they know everything. They think they're a senior devotee. They're a big devotee. or they're some kind of a super special pod devotee. Stop all your nonsense. What is this nonsense? If you're such a big devotee, how is this going on? Why is it that in your presence, under your so-called management, Mr. Senior Devotee, all these people are inventing mantras and distorting the philosophy, misrepresenting what Srila Prabhupada has given? Why? Why is this going on? Why it is going on? Simple. Because they're all involved in that nonsense deviation. From one concoction to another concoction to another concoction, and after some time, the potency will all be diluted. Prabhupada warned about this in 1972 in a letter to a devotee about the Yoga Roadshow and the Yoga Village show. Prabhupada told him to stop this. This will ruin things, and devotees that will come out of such thing will not stay. There is a standard. There is a proper, authorized, bona fide standard to practice the path of bhakti. And what is going on with these manufactured mantras that we are seeing, this is not the standard that Prabhupada has given. Now, people say, well, who are you to criticize? Well, let's put it this way, we're aspiring disciples and followers of Srila Prabhupada. We are disciples of Prabhupada. And the one thing we've understood, don't change his teaching, don't distort his teaching, don't change the kirtan, don't invent things. And the last thing you should be doing is to try to put some so-called pada title at the end of your names. Don't be a sahajya, to whom it may concern. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Oh, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And it is important for us to understand the entire perspective of our Guru's mission, right from his early work, even in the 40s, actually his whole life, up to 2024. See it as part of Krishna's pastimes, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So sometimes we're discussing these topics, which involve some types of deviations on the part of the membership. But remember, everyone, it is part of the pastimes of Prabhupada and his mission to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. This is part of the Lord's plan, and for all of us to be able to be a part of the plan. You know, we can concentrate on these problems, which are very important for us to know in terms of the overall perspective on the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And then we can discern what is the right way to go and what is the wrong way to go. This is the key. Use your intelligence. Don't be misled by people that are misleading others. So, Krishna, by definition, means and includes everything. So this chapter of Bhagavad-gītā is explaining some of the opulences of Krishna. These are inconceivable. Just like Yashoda, when I work in the kitchen, I use mustard seeds. Now, if you look at the bag of mustard seeds, there's thousands of them. Krishna's creation is inconceivable. Just like there are mustard seeds, there are thousands of universes that Krishna creates. How can we, as conditioned souls, understand Krishna? It is impossible. It is impossible because we are minute. We are insignificant in this universe. We're simply specks. 1/10,000th, the tip of a hair size is the size of the soul. But by the mercy of the pure devotee, the gateway to understanding takes place through his mercy. This is Very important, because God is inconceivable. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. We have up to 78% of his qualities. So if we can uncover that opportunity by the mercy of a pure devotee, and we're in a very opportune place in the history of the world to do this, this is our greatest victory in life. So in order to understand Krishna, we have to qualify ourselves. Just like anything in life, you have to qualify yourself. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a doctor, a musician, a lawyer, an entrepreneur. Whatever role you take in life, you have to qualify yourself. So in the same way, if we want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness and enter into the understandings of this philosophy, we have to be very strict, Vijaya Pandit, with our own personal sadhana. That is our training. We train ourselves to become leaders of mankind, representing Prabhupada's. And this is very important because we can see Yashoda was describing so beautifully in his class how many people are deviating from the process of devotional service based on profit, adoration, and distinction. In the guru business, it's called. The karmi or the materialistic man cannot understand God or Krishna because they're mudhas, or the donkey class of men. They are completely lost. And I wanted to read this to us today at the program from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I came across a verse and purport in the Anchalila, chapter 6, verse 195, given by Lord Chaitanya as some instruction, which I think we can all appreciate when we read it. So it's text 193. Thank you. Prabhu kahi Krishna kripa balishta sabha hoite tomare kadlila vishaya vista garta hoite. Translation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the mercy of Lord Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore, the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life, which is like a hole into which people pass stool. Purport. According to the law of karma, everyone is destined to suffer and enjoy accordingly to a certain material standard. But the mercy of Lord Krishna is so powerful that the Lord can change all the reactions of one's past karma or fruit of activities. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically drew attention to the mercy of Lord Krishna. The mercy is more powerful than anything else, for it saved Raghunath Das from the strong bondage of material life, which the Lord compared to a hole where people pass stool. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his verdict that those addicted to the materialistic way of life are like worms that are living in stool that cannot give it up. This is the modern world, everyone. A Griha Brata, one who has decided to live in a comfortable home, although it is actually miserable, is in a condemned position. Only the mercy of Krishna can save one from such mercy. And of course, the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Without Krishna's mercy, one cannot get out of the filthy entanglement of materialistic life. Entanglement. The poor living entity cannot give up his materialistic position on his own. Only when granted the special mercy of Krishna can he give it up. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew very well that Raghunath Das was already liberated. Nevertheless, he emphasized that Raghunath Das's life of material comfort as a very rich man's son with a very beautiful wife and many servants to attend him was like a ditch of stool. The Lord thus specifically indicated that ordinary men who are very happy with material comforts and family life are no better position than worms and stool. So this material world is a place of misery, of repeated birth and death. And Prabhupada has opened our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge, and for that we should all be eternally grateful. Yashodanandana, Prabhu, please.
Very important point you're raising here. Very important point. We see many times that devotees who take to Krishna consciousness will do very nice in the beginning of their spiritual practices, but after some time, they slackened off. They get influenced by hearing from non-authorized sources, and then they start to develop different ideas which are against the instruction and the teachings of the authorized Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. That's why when we study the history of Srila Prabhupada's preaching and development of his society, he gave many warnings to devotees and many instructions not to go outside, not to go to different advisors, not to go to different neo-mats, but to stay in the association of devotees. Now, there's a very interesting situation in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Prabhupada advises if one thinks there are many devotees, pseudo-devotees or non-devotees in the Krishna consciousness society, Prabhupada said when one can associate directly with the spiritual master. But then Srila Prabhupada also warns and cautions that one should follow the regulative principles of devotional service and associate with devotees. What we currently have, the reality is, there are many devotees who live outside, just like I have a very nice conversation with Dr. Sean in Michigan 2 weeks ago. Very interesting discussion. He doesn't live in an ISKCON temple. He lives outside. He does his chanting, offers his boga and everything. He's a devotee. And there are many persons, like even our Dr. Shyam, Dr. Neela in Miami. There's many devotees like that who don't live just like the way it was when we first joined the temples in the 1960s and 70s. We actually live in the association of devotees in the temple. But the point is, you can make your life, you can transform your life and your environment simply by the association of the pure devotees. And this is the point. To what extent we desire to associate with the pure devotee, the association is there. The technology is there, the books are there, the videos are there, the audios is there, the Srimad Bhagavatam class is there, the Prabhupada, the video and audio of Prabhupada chanting japa is there. There is so much nectar. There's so much nectar available. It's up to us to develop the desire to hear and associate with the pure devotee. Very simple. Very simple. Hare Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. And that's wonderful words of encouragement for all of us to develop our own Prabhudatta Desha, our own area of opportunity to present Krishna consciousness without adulteration or change. I see our friend Neil Sharma has his hand up already from Miami, Florida, and we'd like to hear what he has to say or ask in terms of this session today on the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Very interesting class, very interesting discussion. If you notice is that the people right now who are in charge of ISKCON and who are running the whole show, if you look at them, that by their own standing, they have no credibility. They know that the only credibility they can get, because they have not have any kind of understanding, They cannot print books or make books like Srila Prabhupada did. So they have to latch on to Srila Prabhupada's uniqueness, you see. So the only way they can get any kind of labha, puja, and pratishtha is if they associate themselves with Srila Prabhupada. Now, how will they be able to do that? Because now that since Srila Prabhupada's physical presence is not there, the actual physical presence is not there. Yes, he is physically present in his books and his Vani, but as a normal neophyte, people who associate with the physical appearance, they say that we were there when Prabhupada was there physically present. And that is why they have created two classes of people, one who are disciples of Srila Prabhupada and one who are not disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Because that can give them that exclusivity class within the whole setup. And it is interesting to hear from Vishwakarma Prabhu that even within that class, they have created a subclass by calling them the first wave, the second wave, the third wave, because I was the first to recognize Srila Prabhupada's divinity. So hence I was in the first wave. And so now you should respect me. And the only way you can reach Srila Prabhupada is through me, because I was in the first wave. You see, when Srila Prabhupada has never said that nobody can approach him. They have systematically created these phases since the last few years of Srila Prabhupada's presence in this particular on this particular planet. They have said repeatedly that it was very difficult. People have said, just like yourselves, people have said that it was very hard to access Srila Prabhupada in those few last years as it is now, because now Prabhupada is so freely available and across the whole spectrum of the internet. So they always use Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's words. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us, that we have recognized that they misquote Srila Prabhupada. They do not follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions in totality. They will choose what suits them to put them on the level of pratishtha, puja, and labha from other people by putting them down and creating an exclusive class for themselves. And this is the unfortunate part, where everybody should understand that Prabhupada never created that. Nobody can be in Prabhupada's class. Everybody is below his class and everybody are the same. That is why the whole name of this association which you have put, Prabhupada Disciples Association, where all of us are Prabhupada's disciples. We are all together. Yes, some of us are senior, some of us are junior in the aspect of understanding. So, but in one sense, we are all the same. We are all struggling with Maya. We are all struggling with the material life, and if we introspect within ourselves, each one of us is struggling, combating with Maya, and of course, it is very evident with the other people where so many fall downs have occurred and they are no different, but they don't want to admit it. We will admit it. That is the difference. I would love to know what Yashodanandan Prabhu and Vishwakarma Prabhu have to say.
I'm going to comment just quickly that what we want to do, Prabhu, is create a group of devotees that are leaders in this proper understanding of our philosophy, which is that Prabhupada lives with us in sound, as opposed to Vapu, which is what they present as the methodology for taking on disciples. For example, in America nowadays, they have no devotees. They're importing people from India to be pujari. Why? Why is it that there are no people joining? No Westerners really joining? They have to bring people from India who are looking for a way to get out of India and elevate themselves economically by a passage to America and authorization from ISKCON to let them practice their puja for them, and then eventually they bloop and go get a job, and then they're set up in America because they're not making devotees. There is no leadership. They're taking advantage of people who are in the cycle of poverty. They're trying to they give them an opportunity to come to these Western countries and make money with the excuse that they're going to be pujari. This has been going on for 50 years. So, you know, with our situation, we want to inspire a person like yourself who's sincere, very clear in your vision. And we have a lot of us here. We don't have followers. That's a big difference. You can get all kinds of followers. Like recently, Jayapataka in India initiated 1,000 people at once. He has over 78,000 disciples, so-called. Are they disciples? We have an example in Canada of a devotee that, when I was president, recommended to Gopal Kṛṣṇa for initiation. This was back in 1982, after I arranged for him to become guru because I was entangled with Keith Ham, Kirtananda. It was a nightmare on Elm Street. Recently, a few years back, this person, who was one of Gopal's first initiated disciples and has been involved in Krishna consciousness all his life, came to Gopal to say hello, Haribo. Gopal had no clue who he was. No clue. What kind of guruship is this? Where you get all kinds of thousands, tens of thousands of disciples, and you haven't got a clue who any of them are. This is not what Lord Chaitanya wanted. Followers. Najanam nadanam nasindarim. No amount of followers. This is a bogus movement. And we, as the Prabhupada, thank you for mentioning that. That took many, many months of meditation, how to name our group. Prabhupada Disciples Association. I tell people, we are not Ritviks. You do not refer to me as a Ritvik. That is a system for initiation. We are not Prabhupada Nugas. That's not a bad term, but we are Prabhupada disciples, each one of us. And if we carry that banner proudly and we preach this mission properly, we will not have followers, we will have disciples. This is not a joke. Dharma Bhavana, please. Maybe you could comment. Sorry, Yashoda, we'll get to you.
Oh, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I unmuted now. Yeah, this is, hold on.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, there's been so many different points made in class today. I really appreciate the discussion. Somebody may ask the question,
Yes.
Those who are followers of Prabhupada disciples, how come it took so long for devotees to kind of get the proper information, to unite together, to carry on Prabhupada's mission? And of course, there was, I can only give my own example that the 1980s, and especially the 1990s and early 2000s, most of us didn't have a college degree or not even a built-up business. We had to start something from scratch. So in order to survive, we separated ourselves from what we considered, really, really bad association. And the devotees were struggling individually with their own individual situation and families. So it took a very long time. And if so many letters and tapes were sequestered, classified, they just weren't there. So the devotees didn't have the information to kind of know what was right. They may know what was wrong and have an idea that something is not right, but they didn't know actually what the correct information was. So devotees may ask, why is it, or even now, that's why it took a long time. In the early 2000s, devotees were trying to associate with each other and become organized. But it just seems from my own experience that if you're trying to do something really, really pure in Kali Yuga, and you have let's just say a society of devotees, a number of families and people working together, the personality Kali will come in and create trouble and problems. That's just my own personal experience. It's almost like in the books we read after Lord Chaitanya was here, 30, 40, 50, 60 years afterwards, there was 13 upper sampradayas. If Lord Chaitanya was so pure and perfect in his followers, why did this happen? And we know that it's not due to anybody's impurity, it's just due to the way Kali Yuga works, and the personality of Kali infiltrates a different society of devotees. So I just wanted to kind of make these kind of comments. Had a few things written down here. Yeah, that's my comments, how it's really hard to do something pure and perfect. So that's why I value this society of devotees, the way you're bringing people together, where we can be in our own homes. And it's just like in Bhagavad-gītā chapter 9, verse 1 and 2, it's mentioned over and over again, the discussion of Kṛṣṇa consciousness amongst devotees. There's so many powers and potencies there. And if devotees come together and discuss this, philosophy and understanding of how great Kṛṣṇa is and how important pure devotional service is and following Prabhupada properly, that these potencies become activated. It's a powerful thing that happens when this discussion takes place. And it's a lot more than just getting some information. But when we hear from other devotees, these potencies become activated, as Prabhupada describes in these purports, that a really wonderful thing happens. That's just my comment. Thank you, Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. We'll get Yashoda to comment in a second. I wanted to mention, Prabhu, Yashoda Nandana Prabhu, that I had a chance after I arrived in Mexico to meet a woman devotee, a female devotee, Govinda Dasi. Now, this was interesting. I show up here in Mexico, no schedule really, just see what happens. And I put up some posts, Vijaya Pandit, with me here in Mexico, and Govinda Dasi got a hold of me. She's a few hours away from me, about 5 hours away from me. And for those who don't know Govinda Dasi, she's written a book about her pastimes with Prabhupada. She was one of the first devotees in the 60s. And she was Prabhupada's secretary from 67 and 68. So she's got all this nectar for people like us. We want to hear, what did Prabhupada say here? What did Prabhupada do here? How did Prabhupada handle this or that? She has quite a bit of Prabhupada nectar. So I had a chance to talk to her for about an hour and a half. And one thing, Dharva Bhavana, that she made a comment to me. She's been traveling around throughout the world these days. She's 78 years old. And she's selling her book on the Prabhupada pastimes in any way that she can to those that are interested. But she said one rather significant thing that stuck in my brain. Most Prabhupada disciples, she said, are not doing anything. Nothing. How's that? Like, I think you just described it here with your little discussion piece. Why? Now, how did this come about? I talked to Yashoda about this. This was not contrived or planned by us. This was Krishna's mercy on all of us to take up the banner of Srila Prabhupada and protect his legacy moving forward and cooperate. That's one problem that we have. Most human beings do not cooperate. They're narcissistic. They do what's best for themselves. We read this chapter here about the Grihastha ashram and Ananda Kupam, the deep dark well. Most people are caught, not our devotees, but most people are caught in the deep dark well of material life. And it is not easy to get out. But through this association, we're encouraging each of us to rise up and work together cooperatively to do more for protecting Prabhupada's legacy for the benefit of the entire Earth planet. Yashodanandana, please.
Very important point being raised here. Prabhupada expected his disciples and followers to cooperate. And what this nonsense, unauthorized system of appointed gurus and voted in gurus has created dissension in the Vaishnava society. It's created different sects, different unauthorized groups. And then other groups come along to spread further confusion. So it becomes a very difficult situation for the practitioners to figure out. Of course, it's not difficult to figure out if one goes to the proper source. Just like Prabhupada one time made a statement that you cannot change the law according to your own volition, according to your own desire. You cannot write your own law book and claim that this is now the authorized law book. It doesn't work like that. It has to be authorized by the legislature of any given jurisdiction, and then it becomes law. Not that you revise the law according to your own way. And this is what we are facing now. Why there is division in the Vaishnava world, at least the Gaudiya Vaishnava world, is because of that problem. People changing the teachings, people misinterpreting the original teachings, people deviating from the original teachings. Why? What is the root cause? And we've discussed this. It's the three P's. The posing, posturing, and pretending disease based on POD. Now, I'm not referring to the Prabhupada and Thai Defamation Association with Puranjan. I'm talking POD, P-A-D, profit, adoration, and distinction. That is the root cause of the problem. If you eliminate that, then things become very clear. It's not very difficult to understand. It's easy to understand. It's easy to practice. It's also easy to preach. But when there's all this desire for name, fame, power, position, prestige, pod titles, and everything, then you have a major problem. It's almost like an incurable disease that the person thinks, I'll do it by myself. I'll just self-administer the medicine. How about going to see a proper physician and take a proper course of treatment? That's what's needed at this time. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So we're moving close to the end of the talk, but let's put it this way, Prabhus. Everybody's struggling to survive, right? How do you survive? Well, for most mundane people, it's with money. When you get money, then you can do whatever you want. You can get on a plane and go here. You can stay in a hotel or go to a restaurant. You can get proper medical attention. You can live in a nice house. If you have money, if you have no money, you live on the street. So what's a good business, Dharma Bhavana? The guru business. You don't have to work. Just walk around with pink robes on and people throw money at you and wash your feet. And they drink the foot bath water. How would you like that? It's a very contaminating thing for a person that's trying to make spiritual advancement. This mundane business, the guru business, is not a business that we should be in. Make your money. Yes. Make your money honorably, honestly, in whatever profession you're in. Krishna may take your money away. He may bless you. He may put you in a position where you have no more family. He may allow you to be focused without entanglement in this material mess that we're in, and push this movement on while you're still alive. Just while I'm, Nilesh, I got a note on Facebook 3 days ago. One of my friends who's a member of our alumni in Hamilton, a musical alumni, because I used to be a promoter, a music professional like this and that, so I knew him. All of a sudden, he dies. Boom. So I found out, he had an aneurysm. He just collapsed. He died. Now, it hit me because I'm thinking, geez, he was younger than me. Look at my age. I'm also struggling in a certain way physically. We all have difficulty. So death could come at any moment. So there's an urgency for us, everyone. An urgency to work together, to cooperate in whatever way we can to protect the legacy of Prabhupada by creating all kinds of programs that will facilitate it. We're working on something right now, just so everybody knows, a Bhakti Yoga leadership camp here in Mexico, where we can all come together and meet for 4 or 5 days and get some association and instruction, and then go back out and carry on with the mission. Because people have to be trained. Most people were never in a temple. They have no idea what it means to be actually renounced, where you have nothing except your mission and your enthusiasm to serve the mission of your spiritual master. So by coming together, we can bring that. We have to train people up. We have to bring people together. We have to become qualified. Then we can be successful. This is not going to happen by chance. It doesn't work that way. I don't care who you are. So there's a lot to do. Yes, Nilesh, please. Sorry. Go ahead. I see your hand up.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it would be a very good idea. It is more so for exchanging information. One of the reasons
Yes.
why in the 80s and the 90s, as Dharma Bhavana Prabhu said, that people did not know is because there was no exchange of information. This was pre-internet days where information was suppressed, where people who did not follow the common beliefs of ISKCON and the fake gurus were discarded or were barred from the platforms. So never anything came about. So I think this would be a good phase to exchange information, to exchange our ideas. Like, for example, you just mentioned about the temple. I was surprised to know, and I would like to know, was this practice also when Prabhupada was there? Is that I see that many a times in certain temples, ISKCON temples, even to do pujas, the service of doing puja to the deities, people are paid for that, and these are initiated devotees. They are on a salary because they are doing puja. Like, say, they are supposed to do, they attend to the deities on Monday, say, suppose from the morning to the afternoon, or from afternoon to evening, whatever it may be, but they're on a payroll. Is this something which is common?
Okay. This is not the way the mission should be spread, but due to the fact that they have no membership, they have no real renunciation, they have not made any advancement. They're paying people to do this through donations. But the point that we should understand is, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, the boat has left the harbor. That ISKCON movement has drifted off into the ocean. It is not something, we would love to see it come back, but will it? All the properties are individually owned by the gurus. They have separate corporations. There might be 1,000 different corporations. How are you going to get those? And when you're a president of a corporation, nobody can come in and take your property. Nobody can come in and check your bank account because you have corporate privacy. They probably have people nowadays. What they do, brother, is they tell their disciples, don't go online. Don't read these articles. That's called censorship. The boat has left the water. If we think we're going to get these people go around. We've had one of our God brothers. He goes and hangs out with ISKCON people. How many people has he brought into this environment? None. Zero. They come, they fault find, they criticize, they narcissistically run away, and they live in their own little world of personal Bhajananandi. That's what they are. This is what's going on here. So reviving this is not going to be easy. We don't have a lot of time. We have to come together and figure out how to do this. Hopefully we can do something and march on back home, back to Godhead. That's our goal. Yashoda, we'll finish up with Yashoda Nandana Prabhu giving us a comment, and then we'll go forward with the kirtan. Thank you, Nilesh, by the way. Very stimulating.
And
Go
the
ahead,
solution,
Yashoda.
the solution to all of this is to really take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has given the process. He's given all the tools and everything that we need to make spiritual advancement, to get organized for preaching, has been given by Prabhupada. And whatever is going on outside of Prabhupada, this is not our concern. Okay, they have deviated in many ways. Okay, this is arranged by Krishna sometimes to show us how not to behave, how not to act, how not to perform our activities. Because sometimes devotees will ask, well, why did Krishna allow this? Why did this go on? Well, there are many reasons. One reason is to learn from it, to learn from the mistake and not to commit the same mistake. Very important point. So keep the chanting, offer the prasad, the bhoga to Krishna, engage in hearing from Prabhupada, try to get some of his books and distribute some of his original books to people. They are available. That Krishna.org is available, that Madhudvisa in Southern California, you can get books from him. There's all kinds of ways of preaching.
Krishnastore.com.
Yes, Krishnastore.com. Very good place. You can get original Bhagavatam set, original Chaitanya Charitamrita set. You can also get some little booklets for distribution. Get some books, distribute them, give them to your friends. Give them to whoever you meet, at the gas station, at a laundromat, anywhere you meet. Just give them a book. Tell them it's all about Krishna. Tell them how you benefited from it. And then this will satisfy Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, when you get a chance, maybe we should do a class on the history of Krishnastore.com. Actually, as to when there was a big lawsuit, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, which was fought with BIT, Bhaktivedanta International Book Trust, BBT, sorry, for allowing to print Prabhupada's original 1972 version. Maybe someday you can tell us some details about that.
Yeah, we have a lot of information on these subjects, and they can be put into different programs that we're planning to do. Have these podcasts and different information for all of us to get the big picture. You know, it's a big story. 1965, let's put it in this section. 1965, 2024, and see where you're at and see where we're at moving forward. So thank you very much, everyone. I wanted to thank Krishna Kata for the nice quote that he put in the chat there. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And thank you for being a part of the program. All of you, we really appreciate your participation. And if we've made any offenses, it's not our intention. We're trying our best in this fallen state that we're in. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. We'll see you tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Thanks
Ram Ram.
everybody for participating.
Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnava Vangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण